with the news of Carson Wentz being out for the foreseeable future, how does it affect the Colts beginning to the season?
It throws everything into shambles. He's not the only injury we have at camp. A guy that we go and acquire in the offseason, the drama that held, the strain that it put on the team as a whole in terms of media, not knowing who the quarterback was going to be, getting Carson Wentz, not knowing if he was going to be healthy, not knowing if he was worth it, the bullshit that kind of came with it and all his baggage. And then he goes out there and gets hurt basically in the second day camp with a foot injury. Now, I'm no doctor, but when you hear a pop in your foot in training camp where there's no contact, that leads me to believe that something's fucking wrong. And obviously, he originally had opted to decide to sit back and rehab, which all Colt fans said was fucking dumb, instead of just going out there and fixing it and saying, hey, science is a little bit more overpowering than my male intuition, or whatever decided him, or whatever he decided to do, or what compelled him to make the decision to say, you know what, I'm just going to lay off for a couple of days. I'm going to rehab it for a couple of weeks. I'm going to come back, rather than saying, hey, if I don't get this surgery, I don't rehab it right, I'm probably going to make my team worse later in the season. So thankfully, somebody in his ear, God willing, it was Jesus, Frank Reich, Andrew Luck, who the hell knows who it was, his mother, somebody was able to say, you need to have this surgery now. He's having it. Who the hell knows what the actual timetable is going to be? 5 to 12 weeks is a very, 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 very long gap. Obviously, the season is about 3 weeks away now that we are in the the very beginning of August, so maybe a good 4 weeks before the official kickoff begins. I think it hinders us incredibly. I think this puts us in the back seat to have a backup quarterback right off the bat with no actual professional NFL experience. We obviously drafted a quarterback out of Texas this year. We drafted Jacob Eason out of Washington last year. We signed Brett Hundley, who has a total of 9 NFL touchdowns thrown in his past 3 years. So I mean, we really have nobody on this roster that can throw the football that has seen significant time on the field. So that's going to be great. Ryan Kelly is hurt. He's out for a couple of weeks with an elbow injury. An elbow injury. I have no idea why, for whatever reason. I can't speak words out today, so please excuse me. I feel embarrassed. Quentin Nelson left practice today. There's actually no report as to why. He did not finish 11 on 11 drills today. For whatever reason, he went to the tent. I guess we'll find out more tomorrow, which is great because, in my opinion, he's our best player on the entire team. Obviously, Marlon Mack is coming back from his Achilles injury slowly. Darius Leonard, our best player on the defensive end, has been out all of camp with an ankle injury, so he hasn't touched the field. And just a litany of other players. I mean, it's actually kind of incredible. So Carson Wentz is the leader of this team as of right the second, and him being out all this time is going to really, really hurt us. So, yeah, I'm not really good. I'm not in a good place. I'm not happy. No, I'm not happy at all. That's really all I got to say.
Do you guys have to call Philip Rivers to come out of retirement until Carson Wentz comes
He's
back?
coaching. He's coaching in Bama. He ain't coming back.
Okay, just making sure. Um, the way that I currently see it is, man, Jonathan Taylor, you better get ready because they're going to start relying on him as soon as the season starts. I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting probably 30, 35 carries just because. Look, when Carson was when he came to the team, it was expected that it's going to be a step up from Philip Rivers, even despite the fact that Philip Rivers was able to carry that team to the playoffs last year. But you have Carson Wentz, who's coming off of a pretty rough season, or a pretty rough tenure with the Philadelphia. I was going to say the Philadelphia 76ers, with the Philadelphia Eagles. And this was a very good opportunity for Carson to really show what he's made of. He gets to team up with his old offensive coordinator in Frank Reich. And unfortunately, just due to unforeseen circumstances, he's going to be out for at least a month and a half to potentially 3 months. So it definitely muddies the waters for the Colts this season. I'm not saying that the season is quote unquote over for the Colts yet. It's just that, man, that first month or two to start off the season, it's going to be rough just because you're going to have some competent quarterback play until he's able to get back. So my expectation is that they're going to run the ball a lot. And they do have the running back core to make that happen. So I know they've got Jonathan Taylor, they have Naheem Hines, they have Marlon Mack. Do they still have Jordan Wilkins on the team?
Yeah.
So they've got 4 running backs. So it's a running back committee back there. So I think they're going to try to just run the ball as best as they can. I'd probably say 60 to 65% of the time that's what they're going to be doing offensively until Carson gets back. And I think they're going to be relatively safe when it comes to passing the ball, just because, that's even despite the fact that Carson's not there, and Carson's kind of known for turning the ball over as much as has throughout the first couple of years in his NFL career. So, run the ball. There's going to be a big emphasis on the defense having to step up, because I don't think that this offense is going to be able to score a lot of points until Carson comes back. And, you're going up against the Titans. The Titans are, I would say, the odds-on favorite to win the AFC South at this point. And with the injury to Carson, I think it favors the Titans a little bit more now than before this injury popped up with Carson. So, yeah, they're definitely going to have to kind of trek through these troubled waters for the foreseeable future. But, Frank Reich has done a pretty solid job with his tenure as a head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. But this is going to be quite a challenge for Frank as he tries to get this team to try to compete with the Titans for the AFC South.